Broadcasting from the Symphony Studios in Marietta, Georgia, it's time for the High Tech Women Podcast, brought to you by Symphony Technology Solutions. Listen in as we speak with and learn from inspiring women who have stepped up and stepped into careers in technology and construction. Now, here are your hosts. Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the High Tech Women Podcast, brought to you by Symphony Technology Solutions. I'm one of your hosts today, Katie Galley, and I am joined by my co-host, Johnny Fittner. How you doing, Johnny?
I'm doing great, Katie. How are you?
I am doing awesome. So today is Monday, March 8th, and a cool thing today, we are recording, and it's International Women's Day. Did you know that?
Yay.
Yeah. I didn't know that
exciting.
before this morning. And so I thought that was really cool. We're recording an episode of our High Tech Women podcast. Of course, in our Women's History Month, we're doing a big promotion of that. Where I proudly, fiercely woman-owned DBE, right, Johnny? Because of you.
Whatever you say, Katie.
Whatever I say. Well, Johnny, today in the Symphony studio with us, we have an incredible high-tech woman. We have the founder of JKM Marketing, Julie Musheno. How are you doing, Julie?
Yay.
Good. How are you guys
Hi,
doing
Julie.
today?
Awesome.
We're good.
Yeah.
Good to see you today.
Yes.
Nice to see you too.
Like your little office setup. It looks nice with your M on the wall. Very professional.
That is very pretty.
Yes.
So, Julie, why don't you walk us through your professional journey to date and how you found yourself in marketing?
Sure. Yeah, it's kind of an accident of fortune, I guess. I was actually an English major in college, graduated with almost no practical experience, which is, you're going to ask me later about what advice I give young people. And one of the things is not to do what I did. I graduated, I was getting ready to graduate from the University of Georgia, and I went in to talk to the counselor about what I wanted to do. And he said, "Oh, you're an English major. You must want to be a teacher." And I said, "Nope. No desire to be a teacher whatsoever. I really, honestly, when I was younger, thought I would be a psychologist." So, so it's an interesting kind of twist and turn, but I did an internship my first summer after I graduated from college, and it was with the publishing company. I used to think that was something I was interested in. You can see there were a lot of different directions I was thinking of heading. But that was actually up in Washington, D.C. And when I moved back home to Atlanta to start, trying to find a real job, I happened into a marketing department at an architecture firm in Atlanta. And I spent 10 years of my career with them, just starting from the very bottom as a marketing coordinator, working on proposals and other graphics for them, and started there, worked my way up. And by the time I was leaving, I was the head of corporate marketing. The company, I happened into the company at a really wonderful time. They were a decent sized healthcare firm in Atlanta when I joined them, and they had just become part of a national company, and they're actually worldwide now. And so it was a really interesting journey to see them go from being a regional office to working with, they had a big office in Chicago that, with world-renowned designers and that sort of thing. So it was fun for me to kind of look at the company, in one way, and then see it grow, and then be part of we did a rebranding initiative where we redid the company website and all the marketing materials. So I really got to have that experience of watching a brand grow, and that was really fun for me. But in 2006, my husband and I had a baby, and because of that corporate role, I had been traveling all over the country. And while I was on maternity leave, I really, thought about it long and hard, and just couldn't go back to that, because we would have had to have live-in help, and it just would have been more than we could handle as a new family, and it just not have the way that I had pictured it. So I left the firm with the thought in mind that I might do some freelancing here and there. And it was I did do that. I did some work for, my husband was with a big multinational company at the time, and so I would help him with his proposals. I did some freelance work for the architects that I had worked with previously. And I just really, kind of kept up my skills that way. I did some personal continuing education work, more training on software programs. I figured, here, I've got a little bit of time on my hands, I can do that. And so that was good. And then in 2009, I reconnected with a friend of mine I had worked with at the firm, who had started her own real estate company. And I started doing more and more for them. They still continue to be one of my biggest clients. Probably 90% of the work I do is for them. But they have since referred me to, clients here and there. So now I have a few clients that I work with. And just this last year, when my husband Matt came to work with you all at Symphony, I started doing some consulting work for you all as well. And I'm very excited that we're working on updating your website. It's been a really, really fun project, and there's going to be some exciting things that we're going to have to show the world once that's ready to go. But that's kind of how the arc has happened. So it wasn't necessarily a plan to build a company, but it just kind of evolved over time. And it's been a really fun way to have a more flexible work situation so that I can still be available to be mom, because now we have 2 kids, and as they've gotten older, that's required different things over time. So the ability to be flexible with that has been really key for me.
Well, you've been very busy, Julie, and we're very grateful to have you helping us now here at Symphony.
Yep.
Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. I can firsthand love Julie. She's amazing at what she does. She is. And so, Julie, I mean, it is really interesting. You said the arc of your career path and kind of finding yourself into this consultative kind of entrepreneurial role with JKM marketing. And so, I know that shift, you leaned into it over time, but did you ever have a desire to start your own business from a young age, or did anything from a young age really indicate that you would do that one day?
Not necessarily. I wouldn't say from a young age. I will say with that first job that I had at the architecture firm, they were entrepreneurs. And so when I first came into that company, it was a really exciting thing. And I feel a lot of the same energy at Symphony, where everybody's in it together. It's not that corporate feel, which I really, really loved. And my favorite clients to work with are the ones who have the expertise and they work hard, but they make it fun for their employees as well. So that, in that respect, yes. But like I said, the main driving force for me was just needing that flexibility. It's interesting because we're in a much more, as far as the workplace goes, a much more flexible time. It just really was not that when I first left the firm. So it was an interesting transition to go from, I was traveling every week to, being really tied to the house. And we didn't have all these amazing virtual conferencing tools at the time. So it's been an interesting transition. But yeah, I absolutely love the flexibility that I have, and just the fact that I can take on different projects as it makes sense for me. So in that respect, yeah, I will say, when I was first in my career and working, 10, 12-hour days, I do remember thinking it'd be nice if this was all for me.
Yeah.
So it's been fun.
Yeah.
Well, that's very interesting. But I would love to hear more about how JKM marketing came into existence. Can you tell us a little more?
Sure. Yeah. So because of the way that I kind of came up in my career, I really had to develop the skills to do all kinds of things. I mean, from, like I said, doing proposals to doing advertisements. We implemented a database. So the thing about JKM that I try to do is give, some clients, like you guys in particular, wanted a little bit of mentorship for Katie. You wanted some help with your website. So those are 2 pieces. But I try to make sure that I have the knowledge kind of across the board. So whether it's social media consulting, or I do lead database work with my realtors as well, depending on what the client needs, I try to pull in that piece of my expertise. So it's across the board. What's been interesting since just in the last few years, is it's been a lot more of the social media and web and more digital and online stuff, which was not my forte to begin with. I mean, I had graphic design skills and that sort of thing, but that's been for me a really fun thing to learn, more and more about that and do more of that. It's fun work. It's a way to be creative and also kind of try to keep everybody on the cutting edge.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. It is amazing to think about then, I guess, the advent with technology and then just kind of the development of these new tools. And so I guess in your own journey then, Julie, how have you stayed ahead of that? So with like the implementing of new design tools, or just kind of learning how to develop websites with different programs that are implemented? How do you stay abreast with all that stuff?
I mean, it's really a lot about just staying curious and wanting to continue to learn new things all the time. Like I said, I had done a lot of graphic design, but by the time I left I call it my corporate job, even though it really wasn't big corporate. By the time I left there, I had been doing more managerial, strategic thinking kind of work. So I really had to kind of go back and learn the basics again, just to refresh and that kind of thing. So it's always wanting to learn more and see more and just try to see what other companies that are out there are doing and take advantage of, some of the knowledge that's out there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, who has been your greatest inspiration in your life, Julie, in helping you to get where you are today?
I saw that you guys were going to ask me that question, and I thought, oh gosh, it's a tough one because there have been so many. I have been very lucky. In the beginning, like I said, the architects that I worked for in the beginning of my career, they had just built up an amazing business, and their approach to everything was so very much about, it's a team effort. Everybody's part of sales and marketing, whether it's the person at the front desk or the person, grinding away doing the architectural drawings. We're all part of it, because if the work is better, then we're going to get that next job and everybody's going to benefit. And so that was a really important lesson to me early on. And it frustrated me then when the company got bigger and there were certain offices in the company where people didn't necessarily know that, because they came in and it had always been a big company. And I always say it's, everybody's got to have some skin in the game. So that was huge for me early on. A lot of my clients are amazing. I'm very lucky to work with a lot of female entrepreneurs, and that is just so exciting to me. My realtors in Auburn are two women that own that company, and they have built it from a sales office in Auburn with, I think they had 5 or 6 people in the beginning to, they have 5 different companies now, and they're in multiple locations, and it's been really fun to watch that. And one thing about them that I do find with a lot of female entrepreneurs, and you are no different, Johnny, it's just that, reading the business books and sharing ideas and trying to, get everybody around the table to talk about it and try to, always be trying harder to do better and to be more efficient and to just be a better company. So, the realtors are great. I have a home builder that's a female in Auburn as well, and a spa that's owned by a woman. I mean, it's kind of funny how that's kind of worked out that way. I don't know if it's most of those other clients are in Auburn, Alabama. I always say, I don't know if it's something about Auburn or if it's just that I end up going towards these kinds of companies. But yeah, so there's a lot. There's a lot of fun. A lot of people out there who have been those guiding forces for me in my career.
Great.
I love that. And you said too, Julie, to start, it's one, you are inspired by these people you've had the chance to learn from and work with. But then now two, part of what you do is you give back, you mentor, and you're able to be kind of that person that you were seeking when you were first getting into the world of marketing and then entrepreneurship. And so you touched on it a little bit in the beginning already, but can you tell us what piece or a couple pieces of advice that you would offer to someone entering into marketing or entrepreneurship?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, like I said, my main thing I always tell young people is go get that internship, go get that practical experience. A wonderful thing that my husband did, he went to Georgia Tech and he was part of their co-op program. And it was amazing. It took him a little longer to get through school. We always joke because we're the same age, but he graduated after me. And I'm always like, I won. And he's like, but I had a resume. He graduated with, a year, I think a year and a half or 2 years worth of on-the-job experience. And granted, he was graduating from Georgia Tech. So there's, it's a little easier to get a job than graduating with an English degree. But by that same token, he had something companies wanted, and it really, what the co-op job that he had in college was amazing because he was estimating. He worked for a cost estimator and he's in sales. So it has been incredible for him because he can he grew up sort of doing the thing that a lot of salespeople don't have that expertise, even after years and years in the business. So practical, and continuing to educate yourself, never stop taking classes, never stop reading books. I mean, we just last week with you guys had that great brainstorming session talking about different marketing ideas that we're going to use.
That was fun.
The videographer recommended a book it's funny, is the Story Brand book. He recommended it and I started reading it and I thought, oh my gosh, how did I not know about this already? So I'm actually reading that book now, and I've suggested it to other clients. And I actually told my realtors, I said, I think we need to implement this. So there's just always more information out there. There's always new things to learn. You don't have all the answers about everything, certainly not early in your career. So it's always good to learn and just try to do more and take initiative to do things. Katie, you're really great about that. I don't think there's a single thing we've asked of you as we've worked where we've said, we need to try this, that you haven't said, okay, and jumped right on it. And that is just such a great attitude, and that will definitely take you far in your career. And that, so.
Very refreshing. Those are some great ideas, Julie. If someone wanted to get in touch with you, how would they do that?
I am on social media. You can find me on LinkedIn, just with my name, Julie Musheno. I have a website, jkm.marketing. And yeah, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm everywhere. So I think you guys will probably have a link in the show notes. So I absolutely, I'm around.
I'm sure we will. Thanks, Julie.
Yeah, Julie, thank you so much. I mean, I don't think it's a secret. I'm probably the president of the Julie Musheno fan club because
I joined.
Yeah, of course, Johnny. You can be vice president of the fan club.
Okay.
Thank you all for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this episode. To learn more about Symphony, you can follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube at Symphony Technology Solutions, and on Instagram at Symphony Tech Solutions. Never forget that wherever your pursuits take you, cling to the truth that you are absolutely made for a time such as this. See you on our next episode.